The early morning calm shattered like glass. The electric crackle of a stun gun tore through the still air of Blue Ridge Hollow, a suburban neighborhood so pristine it looked plucked from a real estate brochure. It wasn't the kind of place you'd expect sirens, chaos, or violence, yet here, in front of Unit 212, paramedic Lindsay Harper collapsed onto the manicured lawn, pain searing through her torso. In her years working emergency medical response, Lindsay had treated everything from gunshot wounds to infants in respiratory distress. She'd even once performed CPR in the back of a moving ambulance after a crash. But nothing had prepared her for being tasered by a private security guard, no less while trying to save a woman's life. Just moments before, Lindsay and her partner, Diego Martinez, had raced into Blue Ridge Hollow in response to a 911 call. The dispatcher had relayed the details with urgency: elderly female, cardiac arrest, not breathing. Every second mattered. They barely parked before grabbing their gear and sprinting toward the address. But then he appeared. Grant Teller. The guard stood tall in front of the entrance to the cul-de-sac, blocking their path like some sentry at a military base. Lindsay flashed her EMS badge, pointed to the ambulance with its flashing lights, and even tapped the bright red medical patch on her uniform. But Grant didn't budge. He demanded a gate code and access past something that would justify her presence, as though saving a dying woman's life wasn't enough. "I told him we were working an active code blue," Lindsay would later recall, in a tone of disbelief. "He just kept repeating rules. It was like talking to a brick wall." Diego, still on the radio with dispatch, tried to get a supervisor on the line who could override the guard. But they were running out of time. Lindsay stepped forward again, repeating that she needed access. That was when Grant raised the stun gun, aimed it square at her chest, and pulled the trigger. The voltage slammed through her like a freight train. Her knees buckled and she went down hard, hitting the lawn with a thud. Her vision blurred. The stretcher remained in the ambulance, the defibrillator useless in the back seat. Inside Unit 212, 78-year-old Lorraine Chambers was fading fast. Her husband, Hank, had made the frantic call, his voice trembling as he begged, "She's not breathing. Please, hurry." But no one reached her in time. By the time county responders finally broke through the HOA's gate, Lorraine was gone. A county medical examiner pronounced her dead. Too late for anything more than paperwork. The aftermath spread like wildfire through Blue Ridge Hollow. This wasn't the kind of neighborhood where tragedy struck. It was a place where neighbors competed over lawn stripes, where retirees compared golf carts and golden retrievers. Now they were whispering about death, lawsuits, and that awful buzzing sound a stun gun fired at a paramedic. Grant defended his actions with smug detachment. "I was following protocol," he told local reporters. "We've had suspicious people, break-ins. I had to make sure she wasn't a threat." But to the residents, it didn't matter how tightly the HOA's rules had been written. A woman had died because someone delayed her care. A paramedic had been assaulted for doing her job. The grainy footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera soon made the rounds. It showed Lindsay stepping forward, calmly identifying herself, then crumpling as the taser struck her. The board of directors, those who had proudly declared Blue Ridge Hollow the safest gated community in the region, were suddenly under the spotlight. They had hired the security firm. They had approved the rigid access protocols. And now, they were scrambling, plastering hastily written statements on the community's website, calling the incident an unfortunate misjudgment by a third-party officer. But the community wasn't buying it, and neither was Hank Chambers. Hank's grief turned to fury, and within days, he announced a wrongful death lawsuit against the entire Blue Ridge Hollow Homeowners Association. He named every board member, every policy, every line in the HOA manual that prioritized forms over human lives. "I'm not looking for revenge," he told the local paper. "I'm looking for accountability." That same night, the board huddled in their posh clubhouse overlooking the private tennis courts. President Wesley Kane tried to keep order. A once proud architect of the HOA's Security First doctrine, Wesley now found himself dodging angry calls and furious emails. Some residents blamed Grant. Others blamed the board for creating a fortress mentality in a neighborhood that used to feel like home. In the ambulance bay at County General, Lindsay Harper sat with her arm in a sling, filling out incident reports. Her shoulder throbbed. Her nerves were fried. But worse than the pain was the humiliation that someone with a badge and a uniform could be treated like an intruder just for trying to save a life. I keep seeing her face, she said quietly to Diego. I keep thinking we could have made it. I should have pushed past him, Diego said, guilt etched into his voice. We should have forced it. Lindsay shook her head. That wasn't our call. But this isn't over. Together, they visited Hank to offer their condolences. The old man's hands trembled as he opened the door, eyes red-rimmed but burning with resolve. They've gotten away with too much for too long, he said. Lorraine knew it. She said we gave them too much power. Lindsay and Diego listened as he recounted their 50-year marriage. The laughter. The grandkids. The quiet days they thought they'd still have. Lindsay left with tears in her eyes and fire in her chest. In the weeks that followed, the lawsuit exploded. Hank hired a veteran attorney named Cassandra Brandt, known for taking on impossible cases and winning. With a voice like a gavel and the gaze of a predator, she began compiling witness statements, security memos, HOA policies, anything that could prove negligence. The residents of Blue Ridge Hollow, once proud of their gates and codes, began to feel the tremors. Rumors swirled. Whispers turned to conversations, then to petitions. Restore compassion to Blue Ridge signs popped up on lawns like mushrooms after rain. Some board members panicked. Others doubled down. This is a witch hunt, scoffed one director during a heated meeting. He's grieving. But we can't dismantle everything because of one incident. It's not just one, muttered another. It's the system. Then came the bombshell. An investigation revealed that the security firm hired by the HOA never had proper licensing for stun weapons. They had filed no local permits. Grant Teller had never received certified training for using a taser. That revelation poured gasoline on an already roaring fire. Wesley Kane, in a desperate attempt to stop the bleeding, tried to negotiate with Hank in private. We're prepared to offer a settlement, he said, standing stiffly in Hank's modest living room. An apology. A change in protocols. Compensation. Hank looked at him with steady disdain. My wife died. You let that happen. A check won't fix it. If you really want to make it right, resign. Tear down this whole rotten setup. Or I'll see you in court. And that's exactly what happened. As the trial began, the courtroom overflowed with reporters and neighbors alike. Lindsay took the stand, recounting each moment, how she identified herself, how she was tossed, how she watched precious seconds vanish. Medical experts confirmed what everyone already feared. Had treatment been rendered even 3 minutes earlier, Lorraine likely would have survived. When Grant took the stand, he stammered and sweated, alternating between defensiveness and contrition. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, he said. I was just doing what the board told us to do. But the jury wasn't moved. Cassandra Brandt delivered a closing argument that pierced through the legal fog. This was not an accident, she declared. This was the logical result of policies that put control above care. A gate code above a heartbeat. The jury took a day and a half. When the verdict came, it struck like a thunderclap. We find in favor of the plaintiff, Hank Chambers. The Blue Ridge Hollow Homeowners Association is liable for wrongful death due to obstructive security policies and gross negligence. The damages awarded were massive. Enough to shatter the HOA's financial stability. Enough to force an overhaul. The board dissolved within weeks. The security firm was terminated. New leadership emerged, pledging transparency and community-first policies. The gates still stood, but now they opened automatically for ambulances, fire trucks, and police. No codes. No delays. No more games. Lindsay was honored with a statewide EMT recognition for bravery in the face of injustice. She returned to full duty, though her shoulder still ached some mornings. What hurt more were the memory, but she channeled them into every emergency call, every saved life. As for Hank, he used part of the settlement to establish a scholarship for paramedics in Lorraine's name. She always believed in helping people, he said. Now she still can. Blue Ridge Hollow was never the same. And that, many would say, was a good thing. The community learned through pain and tragedy that safety without humanity is just another kind of danger. And in a place where a woman once died behind a locked gate, the new promise was simple. That no door would ever stay closed to someone trying to save a life. And no rule would ever again matter more than a beating heart. The end.